We got 10,000 SOS calls from Garmin.
With crazy stories and stats coming up right now.
What's going on, everybody? This is Derek, and with me today is the only man who will eat his freeze-dried meal first and then guzzle the water down to mush it up, Carl Mandrioli. What's going on?
What's going on, man? With me today is, welcome to the Backpacking Bushes podcast. With me today is Derek Somerville. He's a man who tries to save money in emergency situations by demanding that they don't send paramedics. They only send one.
Awkward pause. Intentional. Intentional. Nice.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
And we're back. I think we're officially back.
We're back.
Woo!
You're back on the show. Always miss you, my friend. And
they get the good jokes from me when I feel like I'm here. I think you step it up to like the really bad puns. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I need to listen to this.
I was just out on a Patreon trip and I was told that like they were impressed with my intros. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Who was saying that? Like the animals or what were we talking about?
Yeah, just a made up person probably. But
surprised.
So we got 10,000 SOS calls on Garmin. We're not
crazy.
We're not gonna limit it to Garmin. Surely there's got to be some stories in here, right?
For sure. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll break it down. We're going to go over some key stats. They've kind of released a lot of data as well. And so we'll break it down for you as really only we can break it down. Like who best to analyze data than Derek and I, correct?
I mean, obviously we're professional at it. So this is going to be magical.
Yeah. I'm actually really curious how you're going to do. I do this with my students in my class and it's a step-by-step process and they still have a really hard time with it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if we can pull this off because I'll probably talk teacher stuff as we go if it gets out of hand. I'm saying.
You're gonna go teacher stuff? Okay.
Teacher style, yeah, because
it's gonna be awkward, but okay, it's fine.
Yeah, it might be a little bit. So anyway, Bible verse of the episode, Psalm 34:4. I sought the Lord and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears.
You have a lot of them. So that's a powerful
and I pack all my fears. So in light of this verse, do we really need these emergency devices?
I think so. Depending on who you go with and what kind of friends they are. So
So don't seek the Lord, just seek your friends and choose the right ones.
I think it's the old adage of like, the Lord provides help in different ways. Do we see it? I don't know. The old hey, there's a guy out in the raft in the middle of the ocean and God drops a ladder for him, but he's like, no, God, I don't want that. I want your help. You haven't heard that?
Okay. Wait. You
haven't heard this?
Let's back this up. What? Okay, so you're on a raft in the middle of the ocean.
Okay.
There's no emergency, but suddenly there's a ladder. What are you doing?
No. You haven't heard that story?
I've heard a different. I think I've heard a different version of what you're saying.
There's a
guy. No. I want to know what you do with the ladder in the middle of the ocean.
I'm going to explain it, and then you're going to feel dumb. Are you ready to feel dumb again?
Where are you climbing to off your raft, Eric?
Are you ready to feel dumb? I'm enjoying your face and your laughter right now because you're going to feel really dumb right now.
Okay, good.
There's a story. The basic story is there's a guy lost at sea. Okay. And he's like, God, please send somebody to help me. I trust you. I believe you. Please send somebody to help me. Right. And then so first comes by like this big cargo ship. And the guy's like, you need help? Are you help out there? He's like, no, I don't need help. God's going to save me. Don't worry. Ship's like, all right, goes by. And then a second ship or something comes by. I forgot what the second thing was. It comes by. It's like, do you want some help? And he's like, no, God's going to save me. And then finally a chopper comes by, drops a ladder from the chopper.
That's how choppers rescue people, with the ladders, folks.
It was on, what was that one? The Guardian with Kevin Costner. Check it out. It was good. Anyway.
A ladder? What are you talking about?
They dropped the rope ladder. Or the whatever ladder. So then they're like, do you want it?
I've literally been rescued by a helicopter before. No ladders.
Okay, maybe it's a basket. There's baskets. There's ladders. They have options. Okay. I didn't make up the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy turned it down.
I think you did. Actually,
he ends up dying, and then God's like, I offered you help 3 times, and you didn't take it. So you know what? The Garmin can be help.
I've heard a version of that story. What I'm saying, So this is exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, where we do things very incrementally. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And so when you're talking about a guy's on a raft and wants a ladder, like that makes no sense to me. And actually, to be honest, after you tell the story,
Forgive me for repeating a well-known story about God's help. That's okay.
I hope one day to be saved by a helicopter ladder, and I think we all do.
I'm gonna post a picture of it if I can find one.
A helicopter ladder.
It's a thing. Okay, it's a thing.
When you watch all this Bear Grylls episode, you see him like climbing down the ladder to get to his spot, right?
Was there an episode where he had a rope ladder on the?
A lot of times he like flips off into the water.
He might have.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That was great. That was like, I think we can end the episode right now. That was a highlight right there. We learned so much about SOS calls from that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We've got, okay. For those that are watching on YouTube, I'm going to actually show the data from Garmin. We'll talk about kind of the interesting things. Yeah. And then we're going to kind of, just like your reactions, my reactions. We'll go through it. And then we each have a couple stories to tell about some of these red button pushes. Yeah. And then, Derek, this is actually the best part is at the end is that we actually got a hold of an emergency, like a sat phone call emergency. We got the recording.
Like the recording of it?
Yes. Yeah, like what does this sound like when somebody's calling in a seemingly dire situation, right?
Right. Yeah. Of course. Well, that's powerful. It's powerful.
Okay.
You want to go first? Why don't you start us off today?
All right. So first, I'm going to project the stats for the YouTube.
Okay. Yeah,
folks.
that's a good idea.
And I don't. All right, Derek. Why don't you start us off? So we've got a map of.
You want me to go? You want me to go?
I can go first.
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Let's cut what we just said out. We're gonna start back. All right. So why don't you
go? Why don't you start us off?
Okay. So first, I just want to describe what we're seeing. I think we should break down what we see in the data that's being revealed. So let's start off with just observations of things that we think are important. So before we start like analyzing it here. All right.
Okay.
So I'm showing a map for those that are on YouTube. It's got these orange dots all over the world, and most of the clusters are in the United States.
That's my concern. I mean, we have the biggest problem. It seems like we are the problem. That's what jumps out at me. Everybody else is like, all right, we're the problem. We don't know what we're doing. Right?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. So in my classroom, I go very incremental. Let's just make observations. What do you see that you think is important? Let's hold off on the analysis. I make one observation, Derek, immedially do analysis.
It's too juicy.
And not just analysis, final conclusion. Derek,
we're the problem. Yeah, we're the problem.
Let's make observations first. There's a lot of dots. There's a lot of dots in the United States.
Let's go talk about the dots. We'll talk about
the dots. There's a lot in Canada. They're mostly on the west, but there's, I don't know, I'd say like 60-40, West Coast versus East Coast, not a whole lot in the middle.
Probably,
right?
yeah.
Like Rocky Mountains to the west. Right. There's still a lot across the world, and strangely, it looks like, what is that? Norway's got like
Norway's got a cluster there for sure.
Norway's got a cluster,
and Iceland has quite a few for that size,
for sure. Okay, so then you scroll down, it gives you like a pie chart, and it tells you like the reasons why people are calling in, and it's basically it looks like about 35 to 40% is hiking and backpacking.
Right.
The next biggest is driving, then motorcycling, then climbing, boating, and then it has like everything from flying. I assume that means like airplanes and not just, taking off from the top of a building, dirt biking, all sorts of other things that are very small slivers, but hiking and backpacking is it. So do you have any other observations or things of note?
Of this pie chart?
Of anything on the site? Anything on the data?
I just noticed Russia's pretty bare over there. Russia's pretty bare. So maybe we need to get out there. Siberia, the whole snowy area.
Don't you think that like a lot of areas got to be epic scenery, but it's just so remote and it's just in Russia, so it's going to be hard to get to?
Yeah, but I think my immediate curiosity, other than the fact that we clearly are the problem, is the stories of the little dots out in the middle of the ocean. Like what happened there? That's what I want to know. Those seem interesting.
Like why would somebody need why would somebody ever have an emergency in the ocean is your question.
No, that is not my question. You are creating falsehoods to make me look stupid. So, I think these are just
you already shared the ladder.
The ladder's legit. How many? Do you want me to?
I don't need to make you look dumb at all.
Have you heard of a company called the Coast Guard? It's like a facility. It's like an organization that saves lives along the coast. You hear of them? You know who they are?
I want you to keep on talking. I'm going to say nothing, and then I think you're going to dig your own hole.
These are the guys that have rope ladders. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, now it's a rope ladder. Okay, so you want to know the stories from the middle of the ocean.
Those pique my interest. But
there is one.
there is one story I'll talk about later, but I'm not going to bring it up right
We did share one on a previous episode from the Outdoor Retailer Show Spot, where somebody was going down. They used the Spot device, and then they got rescued to like a local battleship where they were filming the Top Gun movie. So there's one story for you.
That's convenient. That's convenient.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. Other data, yeah. So the dots are kind of scattered throughout. There's quite a few in Europe. There's some in Australia. There's some in kind of like sub-Saharan Africa and I don't know, the Himalayas, I guess, has a bunch. But
yeah, I see like one in India. Do we need to go to India?
There's a bunch. Well, no, there's like some in the Himalaya portion of India.
Is that like a safer place to go backpacking? When you look at this map, what's the safest place to go backpacking? Because I see it right away.
That's a great question. I don't know if it's safe. I just think it's population based and accessibility, right? So what's safe?
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
You could make the case of this like Central Sahara Desert safe. There's not a lot of dots there, but I don't think that's safe, right?
Yeah, but I know that's it's pretty dry and there's a lot of the heat situation out there is gnarly. But this place it's a green place. It's green. It seems like it's fairly lush.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe there's something else.
Based on the dots, I'll go with North Korea.
That is incorrect. It is Madagascar. The island over there off of Africa with 0 dots. So maybe people know what they're doing over there when they go backpacking. I don't know.
Madagascar is very primitive. Animals are talking there, and they
is that right?
Trying to eat sushi is what's going on. So
there's 3 documentaries on that Madagascar. So that's good to know.
What happened? Analysis. Why is America the problem? You think America's the problem? What would you say? Why?
What do you mean? I think it's the problem. Look at it. I mean, I think here's what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you don't know, but you have fake stats that could probably prove it. So it seems like in America, you're going to be pushing the button. I know there's more frequency of people probably going to these areas, right? So let's account for that. But I think that there's high maintenance Americans who are out there like, I twisted an ankle, SOS. I hurt my hand, SOS. Like I feel like we are pressing for more ridiculous reasons.
We got some stories for that.
And like the guy up on the top of Greenland who clearly that's a legit SOS, right? I mean, what, did your igloo break and you like fell in the ice or something? Like something happened, like stabbed by a narwhal through something, polar bear, I don't know.
Right.
But it just seems like ours I'm sure there's a lot, but either we're just falling a lot more than we should, we have balance issues, or we have baby injuries that, I don't know.
You can go deep in this. So there's a couple things here. So you can also say that we are more afraid because we are more likely to have these devices and therefore we're more likely to push the buttons. You can make the case that we have better scenery. And so there's more button pushes because there's more visitors to places like national parks. But when you go to the national parks, my friend, typically, if you were to pick out somebody at a national park, like in the backcountry, I'm going to say that you've got like a 50-50 chance that person is a foreigner. So just because it's happening in the United States doesn't mean it's like they're Americans, right?
Well, do we rub off on them though? Does our baby behavior rub off? Because I think you go up higher north and the people just get tougher. That's my opinion.
They might, but the people pressing the red button may not be the people living there. It might just be visitors who
Look at you, though. Look at you. You go out and backpack and do all these things with injuries galore, and you're just getting lucky. You haven't really had to use well, you have had to use the SOS, but you weren't on that trip, thankfully. Right. How many of these?
Wait, let's break this down. I had to use the SOS on a trip that I wasn't on, is what you just said.
The Red Peak Pass, Peak Pass FK2.
I didn't have to use it if I'm not on a trip. That doesn't make sense.
Well, okay. Well, you called SAR, right?
I did. But I just called that on my cell phone because I wasn't out in the backcountry.
So tit for tat. Either way, tomato. Anyway, same but different. Okay, so how many of these dots do you think were accidental presses?
Okay, and so that's going to kind of
is that the other, you think?
Go into our story. No, there's definitely some accidental presses, especially with the older models of devices. Yes. And what's surprising to me, I'm pretty late in the game for getting these devices, so you might have had one of these older models which you could accidentally press the SOS button.
Yeah.
But I was surprised at how hard it was to turn it back off. Like people, I don't know if they freaked out or whatever, but once they identified, this is a false press, they fumbled with it and couldn't turn it off before search and rescue came.
Yikes.
So that surprised me. All right, let's get into some stories, man. So that's the data there.
Yeah.
And all right, so we each have a story, like an epic sort of rescue story, like how these devices have been helpful, and then we have some sort of goofball story where maybe it's not not what you think it is. So whatever you want, go for it.
Okay, I'll start out. There's a story that happened in the Iowa River in Iowa, and it was the paddler who capsized in freezing water. Pretty insane. So there was 3 paddlers who went on a kayaking trip down the Iowa River, and they borrowed a friend's Zoleo device just in case, they said. And despite all their training and preparation, 20 miles into their trip, 2 members got caught, and they in like a strainer with a fallen tree in the river, and one of the kayaks ended up flipping over.
Wow.
Everyone got ashore, but hypothermia started setting in, and they
wait, when the kayak flipped over, did the cooler attack anybody? Their big metal cooler, like the one you had in the raft.
Moving on, they got ashore, but hypothermia obviously setting in quick because it's freezing. So they hit the SOS, and within 20 minutes, first responders were there on the scene with somebody. I guess it said somebody there reported a party deploying a drone nearby to pinpoint their exact location, which to me, I know what you're going to say is like, were drones allowed in the park right there? Right, maybe. Right. But if they weren't, I wonder if those people got fined anyway, but pretty lucky though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty lucky. 20 minutes is so fast.
Yeah. So they saved their lives. So essentially they were saved from hypothermia. Correct. Yeah, not injuries, just hypothermia.
No. Okay. And shock maybe too, but
right. All right. There you go. And that's what I was saved from, back in my, what was I, like 18, 19 years old when in Yosemite. That was hypothermia is what I was struggling with. So
yeah, we're not talking about you. It's about these people.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not about me. Not about me.
It's not about
nobody
Carl.
cares about my experiences.
We've heard this story. We know you're here. Yada yada.
I don't think people have. That was like early season 1. I don't think that's been heard.
Yeah, you almost died and you fell off a cliff because you got cocky, and the rope ladder saved you from the chopper.
The rope ladder. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, so there's an example of a story. Things going well. So I'll counteract that with a story
gone wrong.
Kind of gone wrong here. Okay, and a lot of these stories, as far as where they go wrong, end up dealing with the Grand Canyon. Strangely enough, so
big surprise.
One of the hikers on her first backcountry trip into the Grand Canyon said she'd become worried during the night when her group ran out of water, and then she heard what she described as odd respiratory noises coming from the group leader while he slept. All right. Some people would just call that snoring.
Yeah.
Whatever. At that point, the hiker decided the group was in trouble and activated the spot messenger device. All right. So she pressed the red button.
Yeah.
Then she immediately went back to sleep without letting her hiking companions know what she'd done and without ever attempting to wake the leader. So a couple hours later, in comes the search and rescue and finds the button presser asleep.
Everyone's like, what's going on?
Everybody's like, we're fine. Like, there's a water source wherever. She just,
wow.
I don't know if the leader didn't communicate that, like, there's plenty of water and maybe I might snore a little bit at night. So FYI.
Is she a trip saboteur, would you say?
I mean, I think they finished the trip. They didn't get rescued. So I think that, I think it's more just, that's a good question. I don't think so. I'm going to say no on that. I think it's just not knowing. I think it's just a panicky person.
Panicky person. Are you inviting her back on the trip? Come on. Your gut says no.
I'm saying no on that one.
Really?
I don't want anybody who's like that quick to panic, but is also like panic, but then actually I'm just going to go back to sleep. As if, like the double, like the 2-step process there doesn't seem to match up. Right.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. What's your goofball story you got?
Okay, I don't know if you'd say this is goofball, but I read it and I was kind of like, really? Like it seems kind of ridiculous. So you got this is in Alberta, Canada, obviously.
Okay. Obviously,
Alberta. So these were guys who were hiking the North Ober Ridge Loop. And
we all know where that is, but go ahead.
We all know where that is. It's in Canada. Look it up. So when the trail beneath the 2 hikers' feet vanished as the snow continued to get deeper and deeper, right? Strong winds coming in, hail coming in. They keep climbing, and all of a sudden they see nothing but steep, jagged cliffs covered in snow and ice on the other side. And they're like, oh, that's it. SOS. Right. But then while they're standing over the SOS, they're like, they're not going to be able to land here.
Right.
Let's hike back down to a nice, safe area where we could have set up camp and stuff. And then the helicopter's going to come and help them out. And then they just checked in with the helicopter. And then they started hiking the next morning. And I immediately read this and I'm like, wait a minute. You went all the way up there, couldn't get down, or thought you couldn't hit the SOS. And then we're like, let's just go back down. And then I don't. If you can go back down, why are you needing to call SOS? Why don't you go a different route? Why don't you? It's check a map. I don't know. Don't you have
that's the exact stereotype of people that are overusing the red button, right?
If you can't go back down, yes, hit the red button. But if you can, and you're like there, and you can set up camp or go look for another route or use the map or the GPS, what are you doing?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I actually really appreciate your reaction to this one because I feel like, as we get older, we go on backpacking trips, and as your mileage continues to diminish and your capabilities, I feel like eventually the trip is going to be 4 days. It'll be like 2 miles, 1 mile, and then planned red button push to get rescued at the very end. Like
this is for me. This is for me.
For you,
wow,
yeah.
That was inappropriate, but you know, you never know. You never know.
I know. We can afford the helicopter rescue. Just press the red button.
Part of me just wants to do it for the ride, honestly. You know?
Yeah. What was that? I think it was like Wyoming where they don't even charge you. So. Like, let's plan a trip to the Wind River Range and just be like, we're just gonna, you know what? We're gonna go so far in without the possibility of return, in the time frame that we want. We'll go last day red button. How about that?
There was quite a few of these where they didn't charge you for the helicopter ride.
I have to do the research on which states, but yeah, I think it's Wyoming was one of them. But
California's gonna charge you for sure.
California charges you if you like even hover your finger over the red button.
Yeah,
think about it. They're like tax. Think about it. Tax.
Yeah.
All right. So I got one last story here. This one is about a guy named Jeremy who is trekking across Iceland, which is actually some place I want to go.
That's what I want to go
backpacking. Yes. Sort of until I heard the story because it says that he got caught in a sandstorm, which I didn't know was a thing there.
What?
Yeah, with winds blowing more than 85 miles per hour.
Ooh, that's
he was stranded in the wide open, which that part makes sense because I've never seen any trees in Iceland ever.
Okay.
And he's hours from the nearest town. He took shelter behind large rocks, and then he pressed the SOS button on his Zoleo. Immediately, he received progressive SOS updates via his Zoleo device, and within hours, the local search and rescue team arrived at his exact location to bring him back safely. So he was basically stranded, stuck, and he was like in a helpless situation, couldn't get back. I mean, I don't know if you've been in heavy winds, but 85-mile-an-hour winds,
that's heavy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. That time we were in the car and I told you to stick your head out the window when I was going 85 and you did.
I know. I did. Right? I almost flew out.
You got scared. Yeah.
Here's my question though. So this is the story, and this is like from the Zoleo website. This is all they give you. If he can't move around at 85 miles an hour, they're definitely not sending a chopper in at 85 miles an hour. Like, do they just like somehow drive like off-road it there? I want to know how he got rescued.
That's a good question.
We know he got rescued. A lot of times search and rescue will like hike in and then, kind of take you to safety.
How did they do that? Just hunker down? I mean, I
don't know. That's my question.
It didn't say how long it took him to get.
No
time.
And this is more of Zoleo's problems here. Is they're not super detailed on their site. So maybe my issue. I chose the story. I was just Iceland caught my eye. I was like, what's this about?
Yeah. Because it could have taken like 3 hours and then like the winds died down.
Right. I've seen search and rescue in action, helicopter and hiking in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't chopper into that, obviously. Yeah. I mean, four-wheeler?
Yeah,
four-wheeler to the GPS.
If he's on a trail that's drivable, maybe if it's not like a drivable trail, maybe like dirt bike SAR. What do you think?
No way. Not in 85. Okay. No way.
Okay.
It's not happening.
All right. Okay. All right. It's time. So we have I don't want to say that we like hacked into the search and rescue system or anything, but we have a phone call that we got. So what does it sound like when somebody calls in? Derek, you ready for this?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so here we go.
Help! It hurts so bad. Yes. Oh, there's a lot of pressure on my shoulders. Oh, it hurts so bad. What am I wearing? I'm wearing my backpack. It's like 40 pounds. It hurts so bad, but I think I must have broken my shoulders. I don't even know. Please, wait a minute. There's something else. There's on my head. There's something else on my head. I think there's ants. I think there's fire ants on my head. I'm not really sure. All my hair's falling out. I'm bald and my shoulders hurt. What is happening? Help, send help. Please.
So what do you think happened to that guy, Derek?
I don't know. It seemed like he had like some serious hypochondria going on. I don't know. It was
yeah.
That's a serious issue out there.
It's a serious issue. I think you got to watch out for fire ants on your head.
Like phantom pain.
Phantom pain. Yeah. And I don't think we should make fun of this guy. I think, for us, like we could probably handle whatever that situation was. But some people think, they think shoulder pain is real.
You think you could handle it?
Probably not. Probably
No,
not.
you don't think so?
No.
Is that why you wear a hat and have light backpacks? I mean, I get
everybody wants to have light backpacks. Nobody's trying to have a heavy backpack.
Not everybody. Talk to Rocky Brown about that. He doesn't want to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
so
true.
there you go. If you want to check out more on the Garmin SOS stuff, you can check the show description. We'll have the link in there. You can break it down for yourself. I just thought it was interesting. There's been that many calls, and we are a very red button pressing society, as Derek said. So all right.
We are.
All right, my friend. You got trivia this time, right?
We got trivia, and it's coming up right after this. All right. We got Garmin trivia.
Okay.
SOS trivia. All right, so number one, here we go. Was it which sliver of the pie was used least for SOS calls? Was it paddle sports? Was it flying? Was it missing people? Or was it other?
Okay, well, I've called for missing people,
so that's gonna beef that up, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So I individually beef that up, but I didn't press the red button. I just kind of made the phone call. I called 911. So I'm gonna go with we just looked at the pie chart. So
I know. Don't look at it.
Paddle sports. You told a story about paddle sports calling. So I'm going to say, I feel like flying is more like they just crash. I don't think they call in. I think they just crash and they die. Like a lot of those little planes. Unfortunately, that's what happens.
Is that what happens?
I'm going to go flying.
Flying is correct. Flying is correct. I have no idea if you looked at the pie chart, guys, but we'll just take
I did look at it earlier, but not right now.
Okay.
You said click off the browser, and I literally clicked off the browser.
Okay, click off the browser. Here we go.
All right,
let's see how good your memory is on this one. Okay.
Okay.
Of all the SOS calls, hiking was number one for most calls.
Hiking, backpacking.
Yes. Hiking, backpacking. Correct. Driving was number two. What was number three?
I mean, I said it. I literally said it earlier.
You said
on the
it.
show.
You did say it. I want to see if you remember.
You're not going to give me multiple choice in this one.
No.
I want to say that motorcycles was number
three. I got it.
Did I get it?
I think you went on the Google app, but I think you got it. Yeah, that was it.
I should get my hands. My hands should be
now
up
this
here
one. I don't know if you're going to get this one.
Okay.
Because this one would require you to look at the entire Garmin page.
Okay.
And pay attention to one specific area of the page. Okay. You know me fairly well, I would say. I want you to guess where my favorite Garmin SOS call came from. What region of the earth did this come from?
Oh my gosh.
I'll give you a hint. There was only one dot on this place.
Okay.
So that should.
I'm glad I passed trivia already because this is such an impossibly absurd question. Guess what I'm thinking right now is a similar question. Okay, so it's got to be like either middle of the ocean, but I know there's more than one dot there, so that can't be right. I didn't notice a single dot. I didn't look closely at Antarctica, but I would guess Antarctica.
That is correct.
Wow.
That is correct. That is correct.
3 for 3 on Derek's trivia.
If
this is like happy days right here.
When was the last time that happened?
Never.
That's great.
Never.
You're a true trivia legend right now. So it's not on the chart you showed everybody else, the blue and the green one. It's if you scroll down, there's like a black and white chart, and the dots.
Is that right?
The dots kind of fade in, and then they disappear. And on the last little segment of it, there's one dot that pops up.
Okay.
On Antarctica.
Was that you? Or was it you trying to?
That was my call. Yeah, that was my call.
That's fair. That's fair.
A penguin stabbed me in the eye, so it was pretty exciting.
A penguin stabbed you in the eye. Okay.
With his beak,
All right.
Yeah, that's good. Well, 3 for 3, dude.
3 for 3. 3 for 3.
Proud of you. That's good. Right. Well, I mean, that may never happen again. I'm just.
No, not with your trivia.
I'm glad this is. That's because it's good trivia. So I'm just glad we recorded this. This is on film.
It's momentous.
Good
all
for
right.
you.
I got some tidbits, my friend. I got a few here.
Yeah.
All right. So first is we have a new Patreon supporter.
Oh.
Christine from Arizona.
Yeah.
She is a 70-year-old backpacker who's been backpacking in New Hampshire. She's been doing the Grand Canyon without pressing the red button. Yep. She's kind of putting people to shame with just the stuff she's able to do. And she said, like I was asked, like, do you have any episodes, suggestions or topics you want to hit? And she said that it'd be cool if we did an episode on like tips for older hikers. And
Christine, we do them for Carl every week. I don't know. What is she talking about?
That's what I was going to say. I thought maybe this could be like a Derek episode where I just say, Derek, how do you backpack? That could be your episode.
Yet you're older than me, so I don't know if that would be kind of weird. You know what I mean? That'd be awkward for you. Okay. No, I agree with her. She brings up a good point, and I'm looking at her picture right now on the email you sent me, and she looks fitter than you, and her pack looks like more legit than yours. And her shoulders look extremely strong, actually. So
okay,
I'm concerned.
You're probably not too far from the truth. If I'm backpacking the way she is at 70, then I don't know that we have any space to give her any advice about tips for older hikers. I think she should be the one that's the guest on our show giving advice, because that's super impressive. So let's
bring her on. I say let's bring her on. Christine, bug Carl in the email. Let's get you on. Let's have a conversation.
Keep bugging me. So. And if you want to join Patreon, we have, I think we're up to like 39, 40 bonus episodes now. We've got Patreon trips. We've got ad-free episodes for all of our episodes that we release on there, including the current ones. And the one we have coming up actually for this month, I don't think it's out quite yet, is don't trust anyone. All of your backpacking research is compromised. So Derek and I are going to kind of be whistleblowers in this episode. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's only for Patreon folks. So anyway, Christine, thanks so much for supporting us. We really appreciate it. It helps our podcast keep on going.
Yes,
it really does. So
that was awesome.
All right, we got a couple new reviews. So let's bring those up here. So you pick one, I pick one. What you got? It's your turn to go first.
Okay, all right. So this first review is from KRF67. I stumbled across this recently, new to backpacking and hiking, trying to educate myself some. And I find the information to be accessible, not overwhelming. Good conversations, you're welcome, and interviews seem to give good non-biased advice.
The irony in that one, because I just said that all your backpacking research is compromised.
True for the most part.
Patreon, yeah. I like that they chose our podcast to educate themselves, because they must be talking about our guests. Because let's be honest, Derek, you haven't educated anybody, right?
I've educated hopefully a couple people.
Give me one thing. People are like, Derek made a good point. I'm now going to do that. One thing.
I don't know. They didn't write me back, Carl. I don't keep logs of that. I'm here not for the glory. I'm here for the people.
Ladder escapes from rafts.
Let's look up ladders on choppers while you're reading your review, shall we? Let's do that.
All right. Second review is from Casey Ship. As someone who cares about overall health, I really love what this company stands for.
Ooh.
I like that we're called a company. That makes it sound more official. We're scraping by the skin of our teeth most of the time. So
I like it.
I
like it.
But we try to stand for something.
Yeah.
I enjoy listening to the podcast because I secretly want to be more outdoorsy, and it helps me feel connected to nature. So the secret's out, Casey. We know you want to be more outdoorsy, and we hope to inspire you there.
Ship it.
I really like the topics and information they talk about on the podcast. 2 thumbs up. Thanks. I hope you like this one, because I was actually really excited to talk about the rescue stuff. So thank you for the reviews. Please leave reviews wherever you possibly can. We really value them and appreciate them. And
more the merrier.
On the show.
Yeah, more the merrier.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think that's all I got, my friend.
Yeah, that's it for me, guys. We will see you next time. Thank you as always. And remember, guys, if you are out on the trail with somebody like Carl, you're probably going to have your thumb on that SOS button at the ready. So you be ready.